I think Amazon could be, hear me say could be, in danger of blowing the whole thing. I'll explain in a moment. Amazon churns through workers at an astonishing rate, well above industry averages. I've been reporting on that. But now, just to get an idea of what I'm talking about from a true dollar scale, the company's net profit, Amazon's net profit for the 2021 fiscal year was $33.3 billion. That's net profit after all expenses. Do you know how much money they lost on just churn, employee turnover? $8 billion. $8 billion because you don't know how to treat people properly, or alternate statement, $8 billion you lost because you don't care. It's probably the latter. Jeff Bezos is so rich that he can let his company lose $8 billion and it doesn't even distract him. And I'm going to tell you, Jim Collins, my friend, who I've interviewed multiple times, wrote a book based on this very kind of hubris. It's called How the Mighty Fall. I'm going to get to that in just a second. Ken, Amazon is too big to fail. Bullcrap. $8 billion they lose from turnover. And let's remember the context for this. What was it? 2 months ago on the show, I shared internal reports from Amazon that said they are worried that there are certain markets in the United States. I believe the Phoenix area was one, and a few in California, where they are saying, we feel like we are running through available humans to be able to work for us. That's an internal memo. That's not Ken Coleman's opinion. Regretted attrition, that is, workers choosing to leave the company, occurs twice as often as unregretted attrition. That means people being laid off or fired across all levels and businesses within Amazon. An investigation from the New York Times found that among hourly employees, Amazon's turnover was approximately 150%, while the Wall Street Journal and the National Employment Law Project have found in studies turnover to be around 100% in warehouses. That's double the industry average. And this includes, by the way, not just warehouse workers and hourly workers. It includes managers feeling their roles are a dead end. This is a direct quote from a report that was handed over to this magazine. The primary reason exempt leaders are resigning is due to career development and promotions. Now, I've said many times on this show, we humans are wired for progress. And when we feel like we have a lid on us, we don't have a ladder to climb, like there's no opportunity to grow, whether it be in your relationship, in your money, in your profession, you start looking. Nobody really likes stagnancy. Now, do we settle for it? Sure. But nobody wants to. The same New York Times investigation reported the company intentionally limited upward mobility for hourly workers. This ought to piss people off. Intentionally said, we're not even going to look to promote people who are hourly workers. How short-sighted and stupid is that? The answer, big time. David Niekirk is the source here, a former Amazon HR vice president. He would know. Entry-level workers who are able to beat the odds and get ahead are still pitted against the company's preference for fresh college grads. Now, this really irks me. Of leaders hired in 2021, 39% are university grads with little to no work nor people leadership experience. Now, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm all for young people getting a shot. But I am not for favoring new college grads who've never led, some of whom have never followed, to putting them in a leadership position when you've got people who are hourly workers who are coming in and busting their you-know-whats and have been loyal and faithful, and they've got the opportunity. Why wouldn't you want to give them a chance? I would favor, very clearly, the honorable, hardworking, hourly worker who's been in the warehouse to lead warehouse workers, opposed to the green, entitled college grad. Why? Thank you for asking. Because the warehouse worker has had to follow. The warehouse worker knows what is required to win. And you're going to take a college kid who's been at summer camp for the last 4 or 5 years, because that's the average, 5 years. They've never had to follow anybody. I want the warehouse worker who knows what it takes to win on the line. That's what I want. I want the warehouse worker to know what it's like to work in those conditions. I want the warehouse worker who can speak intelligently and say, these are the needs that must be met. That's what I want. Well, they don't do that. Amazon churns through workers at such an incredible rate that they are now in what I believe is stage 3 of what Jim Collins, I said I was going to tell you this. Jim Collins wrote a series of books, Good to Great, the most famous, but How the Mighty Fall is where he unpacked the 5 stages of how a massive company like Amazon could fall. And stage 3 is specifically a denial of risk and peril. And from everything I'm reading, including internal memos from Amazon execs and former HR execs, there is a bit of denial, maybe a whole lot more than we can see publicly, of risk and peril. Do I think Amazon is going to fall? I'm not willing to say that I think they are. Do I think they are in danger? Yes, I do. Because they're not doing anything to stop the attrition problem at all. If you don't value people, you eventually will have no value.